Hey girl, hey.
Oh, hi. Hello there.
How's it hanging? That's what it was.
That's what you said. How's it
Bring
hanging?
back penis and
No.
ball innuendos. Love
That
it.
is what you said when I was like, you used to say something that was problematic at the beginning of this.
Women be having stuff hanging on the low too, vaginal apparatuses be swinging and hanging
My
too.
breasts hang. What you talking about? Hanging. Swing low, sweet. Updates are a little bit slim, I think. Shanti and I took a little breaky break because shit got real. I do have an update. Went to yoga and this woman was next to me. Went to yoga to work things out of my body, that I was feeling. This woman was next to me and I was in the middle of, we were coming up from bridge pose and coming up to a downward facing dog.
What did she do?
And her hair clip came out of her silky tresses and hit me. And the anger and rage I felt in my body for literally no reason told me, sit down.
Did it hit you on your head?
No, it hit me like here.
Oh, wow.
But she was doing a lot next to me. Like, it was a lot. But she was one of those yogis that took her practice a step further than everybody else in the class because she's like about that life. Good for her. But the fact that her thing hit me and she had an empty slot next to her, so she could have moved her mat over and she didn't, which was irritating me.
On to it.
No, really. But I'm gonna tell you something seriously. With that, I recognize that the way in which I was angry was irrational, and I said, somebody told me that you store like trauma and anger in your hips. Oh. And so I got down on the floor and I just disregarded the practice. We had already done a lot of flows, so it was like the last flow. And I started to really work on opening up my hips and burst into tears.
See?
And I was like, okay, that wasn't about her. I'm very happy you did that. And just put the towel over my face and let it out. So that lady was about to catch a whole lot of strays. She was about, right. So that happened, and I'm offering that as an invitation for the listeners to maybe think about that in the upcoming weeks, days, years, months, where that trigger comes, and where we need to actually reevaluate where it's coming from, what it's rooted in.
Wind your hips.
Shanti is done. I also want to say Shanti and I have been recording since 9 a.m. We did a bulk recording because we want to get ahead of the holidays to free ourselves up. And she's about done. My last update is I saw the piano lesson in theaters, left feeling more supported, powerful, and encouraged by my blood, by my lineage, by my ancestors, and I have in a very long time. Very powerful movie. Very powerful movie. So August Wilson play. Shout out to the Washington family that has committed themselves. Yeah, they've committed themselves to bringing August Wilson's plays to life on the screen. I will say that his son was excellent. I think his son, John David, he was phenomenal. He really was.
Oh, good for him.
His character is not the easiest character to play. He's not really supposed to be likable, but he still has to be human. You have to humanize him and understand him. I think he was probably much better on the stage. His performance was very big for a film. it made me grieve the loss of Jonathan Major so much.
Mm,
Because I was like, boy, oh boy, would he have sunk his teeth into that? It would have been the perfect casting.
wow.
Oh my God. I said, wow, I hope you go away and come back restored. Because boy,
Well,
oh
let us
boy.
just forget a little bit. You ain't gotta do all
Yeah,
that.
I
Let us
know.
just like collectively
No, he needs
forget.
to do some work on his end now. He got work
Let's
to do.
forget. Stop dressing like that. We be all right.
It's not right, Shanti.
We'll forget about it. We'll bring you back. Black people are gracious and forgiving.
You need to see it.
Stop looking like that.
It's supposed to come out. It's a Netflix movie, and they put it in some select theaters. It's supposed to come out November 22nd. You and Jolie need to go see it or watch it at home, but it needs to happen. Okay? Very important stuff there.
Mine are very short. Very short. Martha Stewart is that bitch. I watched her documentary. That's my
I'm talking
girl.
about the ancestors. You talking about Martha Stewart.
She is that bitch. I really enjoyed it. The documentary was not good, but
Really?
I didn't like it. But
Her husband says she lied, Shanti.
I can
she's
see
lying.
it. Martha's fucked up, but I fuck with Martha. You can look at Martha and be like, you? There's something wrong with you, but I fuck with her. She's a powerhouse. I also want to say I watched the Whitney documentary and bawled my eyes out, and it was so good. They did such a great job at that.
Who did it?
I don't know, but they did
What's
a great
it on?
job. Netflix. It might have come out a long time ago, but it just came up on my algorithm. Oh, I
can't watch nothing Whitney.
Why?
It makes me so sad.
Oh, you should watch this. It is. They did a really good job. What a complicated being. What a complicated family. What complications. Bobby ain't shit. I don't fuck with Bobby at all. That's all I got to say.
But they try to act like that. There's conflicting stuff. They said that Bobby wasn't the one that got her on that stuff. She got Bobby on that stuff.
Her brothers did. Either way, Bobby, even how he was responding to the interview wasn't good. Like, anyway, I don't fuck with Bobby. I grieve for Whitney. I grieve for her daughter and her mother as well. Like, her mom need help too. All of them need help. But it was really good. And those are my updates. And we have a wonderful episode ahead that we all very much need. So that's why we kept it brief. Please enjoy. There is a portion of this episode that will be best engaged with if you are in a place to be silent. So if you can, and when you can, make sure to go back to it so you can really engage with it, because it's, Lord knows we all need it. Hallelujah. Thanks for finding and bringing this being on.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Voicemails will resume next week. See you on the other side of the break. Can you sing?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Boop. And we're back. We are back. So, hey, y'all.
Hey.
I think this is a really important episode right now. I think it's a really necessary episode. And I'll give you a little backstory. I came across this guest at CultureCon, and CultureCon was fine. There was all these activations. I was like, cool, 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 cool. I'm gonna head out. And upon heading out, I heard a lot of people in this tent that they had, and they were just like networking. They were on mics, just like sharing what they do to possibly connect with folks. I heard this woman get on the microphone, and she was talking about how she is basically in the mindfulness space. And then she took it upon herself to say, can I walk you all through a moment of mindfulness? And I said, oh, she's brilliant. And everybody was like, oh yeah, sure, you could do that. Quieted the whole tent, calmed the whole space, and then proceeded to make sure everybody knew where to find her and how to get in touch with her. And I said, got you, I will. And proceeded to leave. So this was my big connection at CultureCon, because I had somewhere to be, but I didn't even get to meet you in person. So I'm so happy that you were able to join us here on Around the Way Curls. We have Kicking It with Key here. I know that the audience will absolutely love her. And I just want to say I went to your website And it says, helping you cut the noise and live your best, most purposeful life. Okay. And sis said, I provide support, workshops, and resources that bring people closer to daily wellness. I truly believe that when you give people the resources they need to take the best care of themselves, the entire community benefits.
Yes.
And I said, well, our community needs daily wellness at this time. Because full disclosure, I was deeply unwell. I'm probably still a little deeply unwell right now, working through it. But everybody, please welcome Kicking It with Key here on the podcast. Welcome, sis.
I love the little podcast noises. That is my favorite thing in the whole world.
You gotta have an air horn. You got to. How you feeling today?
You know, I am a bit better. You know, I have been really hard on my deep breathing lately and really just giving myself some time every day and just breathing because it's been a lot going on. And it is not the easiest thing in the world to deal with, especially since we were hoping for something else. So overall, I'm okay. How are y'all? How are you feeling? How's your heart?
Shanti?
I am really just catching up to a lot. This is kind of like my first day of rest from a week of just a lot of work. You can hear it in my nose that my body's trying to fight a little bit of sickness. So just physically, I'm just trying to like rest and restore and catch up. So I guess all the feelings and thoughts, God willing, will catch up as well. But I just now stopped. So, and I'm not really, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I am. I don't know how I am. 1 second I'm okay. The next second I'm not, and I'm spinning. And I go between feeling really activated to feeling really enraged to feeling sad, fearful for so many marginalized communities. But no despair. Lament, yes. Despair, no.
All right.
So, you know, that's where I'm at. I'm tender though. I'm tender as fuck. The smallest thing makes me cry. Like these dog videos, I'm weeping as I scroll. I'm weeping. Okay? Like I'm anything. Listen. Okay. I won't even tell you what I cried at this morning. It was ridiculous. It was like a bird feeding its little, what do they call little birds?
Little bird.
Chick.
Yep.
Oh, my bad. See? It was just the way that the bird was doing it. I was like, that's so sweet. And I just started crying. So it's tricky over here right now. You gotta
see the beauty in it all. You know, you see in the details. That's important. That's important.
So
I was tender before this. So.
Oh, uh-oh.
Oh, did you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's going in and out a little bit.
Okay, let me be still. Don't move.
Catch that internet. Don't move too much. That internet
going just like frozen. Don't move at all, because then maybe it'll be nice.
The good thing about this is that it like somehow will fix it on the back end. I don't know how, but
that's good. Technology. Yeah.
Amen. So I'd like your help. I'd like your help. And I'd like to ask you for some labor here.
Okay.
If that's okay. As I ask you to help us understand the call for rest, right? And I want to acknowledge that I am asking you to do labor in this moment. But the call for rest is one that I personally heard And for the first time was like, yes. Yep, I'm tired. I'm not one to hear that and want to ever rest. I see things and I'm like, no, we got to get activated immediately. Mm-hmm. We have to organize. We have to this, etc. And for the first time, for at least one day, I took the moment to grieve and rest. The very next day, I was on organizing calls, right? And feeling this tension with myself of not really offering myself what I actually needed. Mm-hmm. And so Black women rest is profound. And I know that there are other Black women out there who are struggling with the concept of rest, especially when the political climate will absolutely impact them, their daily lives, their children's lives, the people that they love, their husbands, wives' lives, their mamas and them's lives, their daddy's lives. And it feels like there's urgency needed to act, to prevent harm. I also see rest being interpreted, and maybe it's the right interpretation, as y'all got it, y'all figure it out. We did enough. Good luck. And I don't know, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't know if that's the right interpretation, but I'm asking you for help to help us understand what rest looks like right now, and guide us through it.
Yeah. Well, I want to honor everything that you just said, right? So there have been a lot of reactions to what we've seen, which is absolutely normal, right? When you feel threatened, when you feel your nervous system getting it really like energized and active, the responses can vary from like the very extreme to being, just freezing or just choosing to do absolutely nothing. And so I like to lean on people who are doing that rest work when I think about this kind of stuff. So Trissa Hersey has written a book called Rest is Resistance. And it's true, right? So if you're unable to rest, if you're unable to pause, then you can't do the good work. It's self-preservation. It is your ability to show care to yourself first so that you can be part of your community. You can support your community. You can love on your community, but you cannot do that when your basic needs aren't met. And what I've also seen too, like you said, Antoinette, is that people have also Black women have also, because of all of the things we have already done for this country, we've kind of gone the other direction too, right? We're just going to rest. Y'all got this, which is not even remotely anything that our ancestors would have said. And it's hard, right? Because we do need rest. And that is absolutely true. And I think that and also I've heard, people not allowing people to feel their feelings. And that's a big thing. We need to allow people to have these extreme reactions to an extreme reality. Give people a second give Black women specifically a second to lament loudly, to be furious, to be sad, to be confused. Allow Black women to allow that to happen within themselves, because oftentimes within the Black community in general, we aren't able to grieve. It's either we jump to jokes, which love those, but we jump to jokes or we jump to let's start doing stuff. And we don't give ourselves a second to just sit with the reality that has been presented to us and then decide what we're going to do about it. Because yes, there is some urgency, but there's no urgency that we should be putting above caring for ourselves. Because that's the only way that we're going to survive, is if we're able to, number one, care for ourselves. What does that look like? Resting, taking a break from the internet, because goodness gracious, the things that have been said because of how we're reacting to our reality have been things that I don't even think people really believe, but I think they're just angry, which is normal and good. But I think we've replaced like social media with our actual community. Like instead of speaking to, our good girlfriends and having our little chats in our group chats, we have jumped to sharing these takes online when we haven't even had a chance to process. Because honestly, when we found out about, what the election outcome was, the first thing that people were doing was hopping online instead of calling their friends or sitting with their family or sitting at the feet of elders, which is really could have done us some good. But we did that because that's kind of been the norm and pushed in our society is like, oh, jump to social media. But we really needed that. We needed a beat. We needed a beat. And we needed that moment to be with people who loved us, because we didn't need the reactions of other people. We didn't need the input from, white women saying, oh, we're so sorry this happened. Like, we've heard the sorry so many times. It's exhausting for Black women. We've heard the sorries. We heard it from everybody, including people within our own community. So we really needed a moment to pause, and that needed to be our moment of resistance. Not giving into allowing our nervous system to be turned all upside down, not giving into the stress, because stress literally kills us. Mm-hmm. And it's impacting us in a completely different way than it's impacting everybody else, because there's constant stress. There's racism, sexism, misogyny. There's just endless things for us to be resisting. But at the end of the day, we need to resist the hustle culture, resist the urge to just jump to action instead of tending to. And it's something that I often talk about is like that somatic healing. So pausing to check in with your body. How's your body feeling? What's your body telling you? Because it will speak to you and let you know what it needs.
Thank you. That social media component is so important. Mm-hmm. Boy, oh boy. And sitting at the feet of elders is where we
that part.
That part. Like that is not a practice of us, I think of our generation, is to, and it's funny how I said last week that there was a part of me that reverted into a very childlike version of myself, where I reached out to my parents, who aren't together, on the same text. It was like, I need you to make me feel better. Please comfort me. Yes. And maybe part of that was that elder component, but I could have taken it a step further. I got a white mom, so it's tricky, but I could have taken it a step further to deepen what I needed, So yeah, very, very poignant.
I think it's also, something to be said that when you're not in reaction mode, when you're in this state of rest, a lot comes up. It's not like you're lying down and it's comfortable or it's easy. I think it's probably all of our way, a defense mechanism, whether we jump into action, whether we avoid it, to actually sit with the things that come up that we don't necessarily know what to do with when they do come up. We don't know how to bring meaning to them. We don't know what story we tell ourselves when they come up, because so much, especially for women, for Black women, is this loss of control, this hysterical nature, this loss of there's so much to keep together, that what does it mean that I can't manage everything? What does it mean for the responsibility? What does it mean for this facade, or this level of knowing that I have of myself, And I don't have the answer for it, but I also just want to name how long and how tender that is, and how that does require a deep knowing of yourself and a new narrative that you have to be vigilant about, right? Because you can be like, I'm crazy, or I'm out of control, or I'm weak. I think that's probably the most terrifying thing for me, is that there is this weakness that nobody can support, that I have to like reckon with, that I don't even have the tools to like endure. That the hell, I don't know, like that is beyond, is connected to what's happening now, but has so much to do with a younger version of myself, as well as uncertainty about the future version of myself that happens when you do nothing but sit, you know?
Yeah, I want to speak to the piece about the story that we tell ourselves, because it's so easy to spiral in these moments, right? To catastrophize, which it feels like a catastrophe, don't get me wrong, but it is very easy to go to the worst possible outcome in an effort to protect ourselves. That is a defense mechanism that, I mean, we've used in a lot of different circumstances. Like, oh, well, you know, if the car broke down, then I'm not gonna be able to get to the doctor's appointment. That means I'm gonna die. Like, we literally jump to the extreme. And so in these moments, it is as hard as it sounds, because we've been taught to plan, to be ready for whatever. And it's in these moments, it's really important for us to take it literally, a moment at a time. Get yourself to lunchtime. Each day, just pause, just get yourself to lunchtime. And then from lunchtime to dinner, then start over. Because if you think about grieving in general, go back to like the time where you lost somebody important. Those first few days out of that, you are not eating like you're supposed to be eating. You're not caring about anything but trying to make it each day. And I don't think that we realize that this kind of stuff is a form of grief. It's heartbreak. It's not, we're angry, yes. But to be honest, if we go deep enough, it's probably heartbreak and grief. And so when we think about the story that we tell ourselves in this period, it is whatever story you're coming up with is not necessarily your fault. I don't want to ever for it to sound like at any point in this time we speak that any of this is your fault. The way you've reacted is not necessarily your fault, but it is important for you, if we are going to move forward and not necessarily move around it, we have to move through it. If we're going to do that, then we need to be able to reframe what we say about this situation, what we say about it, but feel it first, right? Feel all the things that you're feeling first, but start to think about, okay, what is another possible outcome? Is there a world in which we do make it through this and it is not as bad as we think it's going to be? And that is not giving any grace to this man.
Yeah.
At all. We're not giving him grace. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if we're thinking about our own reality, is there a world in which maybe we can still take care of our people? Maybe we can still tend to those that are going to be struggling the most. Maybe is there a world in which I am able to rest and I can release control? Because truth is, and I hate to say it like this, we don't really have any. Not real control. When we talk about, and not saying like in politics, I mean just in general, like when we're moving through life, things happen. And it's less about the things that are happening and more about how we're going to respond to those things. And so we think about going back to the story, the narrative that we tell ourselves, really just giving ourselves the care, because it really is deep care to shift perspective. And don't rush to shift perspective. Again, I'm going to keep saying that because it is really easy, because people have been saying, oh, come on, y'all, we got to go ahead and get going. We got to go ahead and rise up. And it's just like, rise up, hold on. My feet are very weak and my knees are buckling right now. And I need my community to pause with me and understand that.
You mentioned Trisha Hersey, the Nat Ministry, right?
Yes.
She talks about when you're resting, you're in the dream. You go into this dream state, which is connected to your imagination. I think so much of our imagination has been boxed into it has been influenced by just this political system that we're in of like what is possible through these restraints and constraints of these political systems, which niggas just made up, 100 years. It's just made up, you know what I mean? But we're like, no, this is the reality. And we don't even have the elasticity nor the faith to be like, oh, but this other thing is possible. And like, I'm not sure how to do it, but it's hard to do that if you're not even in practice of dreaming anymore. If everything is just like tight and fast.
So true.
It's tight and fast. The speed in which we think we have to live and make decisions and move, and the time that we think that we have. I mean, global warming if we talk about global warming, maybe I'd be like, yo, we gotta do something different. Hurry up. But I don't know. With this, I think there's a different energy to be considered.
Well, this is tied into global warming based off of policies, but we'll keep it pushing. I'm that person. Sorry.
Yeah. Please be that person.
Key, okay. I'm very practical. I'm a practical being, right? And I agree with everything that you said. What are some ways that we can release this, right? Like, get off of me. Because while I'm not feeling despair, there are many people feeling despair. And I feel like it's like this weight that just dropped and folks are like, all right, whatever. And resorting and resorting into this individualist, I got me. That's it. Right? Which won't save us. So I ask you, because I know that you talk a lot about how to let go. And so I'm curious to know, is this one of those moments where we could put some of your practices into play? Like, can we practice this and it helps us here? Or is this a different thing altogether?
I'm glad that you asked, is this a time to let go? Because I think before we can even play around with the idea of letting go, we need to tap into our bodies, because I think what's also happening here is they're feeling it, but they're not, because like we were talking about, we're rushing through it, everything. We're trying to go to the next thing, because after they are experiencing these feelings, it's uncomfortable. So instead of sitting with it, we're hopping up and we're going to do the next thing. And so I want to talk about practical ways to tap into your body. So what happens oftentimes, we feel an uncomfortable emotion. No emotion is a bad emotion. And I want to put that out there. Each emotion is information. So if you feel enraged, there's information there for you, and it's temporary. So thank God, start there. It's temporary. It is something that's not going to be there forever. It feels like it might be, but most emotions only last about 90 seconds. And before another one comes in, and maybe the emotion that you were just feeling comes back, but it's about 90 seconds. So if you can ride the wave for 90 seconds, you can ride the wave. And when it comes back again, you ride the wave again. But a lot of times it'll shorten because you rode the wave the first time. And so what does that look like? When you feel, let's say I'm angry, you take that time. So when it comes, notice where in your body you feel the anger, and just breathe for a moment. And it's going to be uncomfortable. And you may need to call a friend after the fact, because you're like, what in the world just happened? I'm not used to just sitting with this anger. I'm used to getting up and doing something with it and trying to start something. But just sit with it and notice where it shows up in your body. And then, and this is going to sound real woo-woo, but I promise there's a point to it. You're going to just, as you notice where it shows up in your body, you're going to ask your body what it needs. And just sit and see what comes up. The first time it happens, because you're not used to tapping in this way, it might be like, oh, ain't nobody talking to me. It's not saying nothing. And that's because we've silenced it for so long. It's going to take a second for our body to be like, oh, I can talk. Let me let them know what's going on. And so let's say like you're angry and you feel it in your hands, because a lot of people will shake, like clench their hands when they're upset about something. What do you need? And it may nothing may come up the first time, and everything may come up. But give yourself that time to sit with that. So after that, then you can start to do stuff with your body. Depending on the emotion, you may need to do different things, like get out and move your body, right? Shake it out. There's a lot of practices around literally shaking things out of your body. There are rage rooms. So sometimes you need to go to one of those and really just get that out. And sometimes you just need to scream because you're holding it in. It's like a pressure cooker. If you just let it cook with the top on for so long, eventually the top is going to pop off and everything's going to come out. And I would rather it come out in community where you're loved than out in the world where there's just too many outcomes that could happen. Okay, so starting with feeling and somatic practices. The second piece of it is, yes, this could be a time where we let go after we've done the initial feeling and sitting and resting that we talked about. So when we think about letting go, oftentimes, like, and I mentioned this on my page before, we move through the world with like closed fists because we're worried about losing control. We're worried about if we open our hands a little bit, something's going to be taken from us. And as Black women, we know all too well what it's like to feel like things are being taken from us. If we think about our lineage, right? The reason we have all these different last names is because there were white men taking things from our people. Right. And so I understand the fear of wanting to clench our fists, but in clenching our fists, we often lose out on what can be given to us, right? And that goes to the imaginative space. And so one of the things that I do every morning when I get up is I put my feet on the floor and I pause. Before I pick that phone up, before I start talking, before I start moving, I pause. And I just notice what is coming up for me in the initial parts of my day. So I'm tapping in with myself, number one, pausing. And this is not saying causing you to have to do a long meditation, because I know that scares people initially, because it is a practice that you have to build on over time. So just start with putting your feet on the floor and giving yourself 3 minutes. Then go up to 5. Then go up to 7. Then go up to 10. And then before you know it, you'll start to have a practice that you'll notice when you haven't done it. And that is when you have a habit. When you start to notice that you have not done this thing. And then start adding in other things, right? Maybe journaling works for you, maybe it doesn't. I want to caution us against these practices where you feel like you have to do the same exact thing every single day, because sometimes you need something different, right? But we talked about it earlier, like sometimes you are okay, sometimes you're not. So having a toolbox of different things you can do. I always keep deep breathing in my toolbox. That is an easy way to let go in a moment, in an instant. It's to really just pause, take a deep breath, hold it at the top for a couple of seconds, and then just blow it out. And when you blow out like a sigh, like, be as loud and as ridiculous as possible. I do this with kids sometimes, and they're the masters of letting stuff go because they will yell out, "Woo!" It's very dramatic. But they have the right idea, because sometimes we just need to be ridiculous. We need to allow that inner child to get exactly what it needs, right? We talked about that a little bit earlier, because that's really who is terrified right now. Because we thought we were adults and that we had control of some of the things that were happening in our lives. And like, we thought, okay, we go vote. And then, no way this man will be in office. And maybe, I don't know if I really thought that, but I think that we thought that our inner child would be protected because we're now adults and we don't have to worry so much about these things. But it's more so understanding like, okay, what is in my control each day to do for myself? And so that's deep breathing, that's pausing, that is checking in with your community, that is giving yourself space and time. And that would look like, for example, you can do an actual physical activity of letting things go. If you want to put all the things that you're worried about happening within this time where this man will be in charge and all the implications of that, write it down on different pieces of paper. Burn it. Burn it. And then go back and write down every possibility that you have, because you are going to lean into community. You're going to organize when you can. you're going to put positivity out into the world. You're going to pray, meditate, whatever you need to do to tap in with your body and with your community. Because I do really, the only thing that really makes me fearful in these moments, outside of what I know is possible that could happen because of the presidency, is more so because I know Black women have never been the people to be like, well, all for one and one for all. Like, like, we have always been communal. We have always been, let me support, and I understand that is exhausting, but we have to find a way to both be there for ourselves and be there for each other. And that doesn't always look like helping every single person, but finding pockets of community where you can be helpful. Because I think it's very, very dangerous for us to go the opposite direction. Like, I'm not doing anything for any of y'all. Because that's not in our nature. It's going to be uncomfortable for us to even do that.
Thank you. That idea is, when you said to write everything down, that I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
Because our little raggedy selves, we've done that, Shanti and I, but we've done practices, mostly probably around relationships and men and shit. But where it's like, okay, we getting rid of this, we burning it. And we never went back and wrote all the things we were calling in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, oh boy. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Said it out loud too is important, I think.
Yeah. And I mean, it also is like putting more, and that's the thing about letting go, because I used to not even want to use letting go phrase, but I know that it resonates with people. But I really believe in surrendering.
Come on.
Because I think the difference is that when you say let go, you put the onus and the energy and the attention on the thing that you're trying to let go of. We need to put our energy and in the onus and the time into the things that we believe we are believing for, that we are manifesting, that we are leaning towards, because we're really not a people without hope. And it's hard to, in this space, realize that these two things can coexist. I can be completely enraged and sad and confused and also be hopeful, joyful, and fulfilled. And I know that doesn't feel like it's true, but it is true, because we don't give ourselves enough credit for the beautiful capacity we have to hold two things at once, because I know that is not the way society has communicated things. It's very like, it's either this or that. But honestly, duality is the essence of emotion. Because I've been joyful and full of grief at the same time. Like, how am I laughing when I just lost this family member? Like, but it is something beautiful about the human experience that we're able to do both. We've been gifted this opportunity to do both. And it's like, now it's about how do we give energy and time to both sides of ourselves.
It also makes me think about what faith is, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know that you can be surrendered or be in practice of surrendering without faith, you know? And like, there is a collective demand to lose control, to lose this idea that you have any control, and to learn to be in relationship with uncertainty, because that is the reality. That is all that there is. So how can you tell yourself, or how can you be in relationship with this law, this loving energy, this order, this security, this hope, like all of these really, 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 really good things and real things when everything feels really dark. And like, that's the faith. It's like, I know that there's this other thing there while there's complete chaos, but God knows, God willing, there is order that is beyond me, that is beyond my understanding of everything. And I surrender to that. There's so much I just don't understand, and I control nothing. And like, also, you know, there are actions to be made. There are decisions to be made. There's change to happen that, I've been really sitting with, and like my practice of faith, of like these pauses and these this like buckling and lack of control and despair, and then activating this other part. It's like, oh, I felt this, but it's actually a call to activate something else.
And I think so much of that really resonated with me because I truly believe that I'm protected always. I believe that down deep in my core that I'm protected by God. And I believe that the people I love, Black folk, are protected. Even though we have faced really ugly things. And so a lot of times to hold on to my joy and my hope, I go back to the most simplistic things. I make a long list of the things I like. I mean, like down to the color yellow, obviously. And I will, for the next 30 days, literally find ways to include each thing on the list that I love. So I'm, if I like roller skating, I'm going to find a way to roller skate. Sometime during this month, I'm going to find a way to do everything on this list to find my pockets of joy. Because maybe you can't access it all day long. And I completely understand that, especially when you are in the fresh stages of grief. But what does it look like to access faith, joy, hope in small pockets and build on that? Rather than trying to hit these unimaginable goals of being a highly happy person all the time. Like, I think that's one of the hugest misconceptions of people who practice mindfulness and people who are like deeply spiritual, who have like a really strong spiritual base, is that we're happy all the time. No, we're not always happy and we're not always positive, but we always find our way back. And that is really the strength of it all, to find your way back. And so in these seasons of uncertainty, what does it look like to crawl, walk, to claw your way back to finding joy again, to finding a grounding space so that you can stand and decide, okay, what direction do I want to go now?
Will you please guide us through a meditation if possible?
Yes, I would love that.
Thank you. You take as long as you need, sis, because I'm feeling restored.
Yeah, we're gonna take our time.
I'm serious.
I'm wondering, now that we're talking about this imaginative space, if we should take ourselves there, our dream space. I think that would be good.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, get in a comfortable position. If you want to close your eyes, you can do that. Or you can look towards the floor. And just begin to settle into this moment. Just settling. And imagine that you're just being washed with water. Like it's somebody that's above you, just pouring water constantly on your body. And it's kind of just wiping away everything that you're thinking about. It's wiping away anything that may be on your mind right now that does not serve you in this moment. It's wiping away what you did yesterday. It's wiping away what you need to do when you get off of this podcast. It's wiping away everything for a moment. And just letting it wash you clean of everything that does not serve you in this moment. Presence is such a deep blessing. To be present gives us imaginable gifts. We're able to recognize, show gratitude, and pause. In this moment, I'm reminding you that you deserve to pause. You deserve to rest. and you deserve to dream of a better world. We're going to take a deep breath in through our nose, holding it at the top for 3, 2, 1, and then releasing. I'm going to start by asking you just a few questions. There's no pressure to have an answer to these questions. They are just things to bring into your vibrational awareness. If you find yourself at any moment in this time of our meditation getting distracted, bring yourself back to this moment by remembering how you would treat a puppy. When puppies are learning new commands with their owners, the owner isn't yelling and screaming, "Get back over here." The owner gently brings the puppy every time it goes off to the side where it's not supposed to be. It gently brings the puppy back to the moment and starts over. So if you find yourself getting distracted, treat yourself like that puppy. Gently bring yourself back to the moment and start over. The first soul question I want to ask you is, who am I? Remembering that if nothing comes up, that is okay. If everything comes up, that is okay. Asking yourself, who am I? Releasing all answers and comments and moving to the second question. What do I want? What is my deepest desire? Not judging whatever comes up. Who am I was the first question. And the second, what do I want? Releasing all answers to that question and asking the third question, the third soul question. What is my purpose? Practice non-judgment as you listen for the answers, or you listen to the silence. Both have power, both have importance. Moving on to the final soul question. What am I grateful for? In this moment, what am I grateful for? And again, if you find yourself being distracted, your breath always brings you back. What am I grateful for? releasing all answers and comments to those questions. Shifting your awareness. We're going to take a moment to step into our dream space for a moment. I want you to imagine yourself, a picture of yourself, but it's not going to be the present you. It's going to be the future you. And this future version of yourself has accomplished your greatest goal, or it has accomplished peace in this really difficult season. So you can either focus in on a particular goal or just accomplishing peace and happiness in this really difficult season. And I want you to start to think about what this person looks like. And this includes, what is this person wearing? How is their hair? What is the expression on their face? What energy are they giving off? Think of every small detail. What color are they wearing? From top to bottom, create this future version of yourself in your mind. Remembering to breathe as you do this. This is a non-judgmental space. Just creating this picture. Now that you've kind of envisioned what this person looks like, maybe even what they sound like, their energy, all of those things, I want you to imagine that you are getting ready to step into their home. And remember, we're not talking about the present version of you, we're talking about the future version of you that is able to accomplish the goal that you wanted, or has been able to achieve peace and just joy in a very difficult time. Step into their home. Imagine that you're greeting them. Maybe it's a handshake or a hug, a wave, or maybe you all just smile at each other. Step into their home, greet them in whatever way you see fit, and then take a seat. Even imagine, how would they greet you? Would they give you a glass of iced tea? Would they give you a glass of water, some tea? Or would you just sit, just ready to talk? Maybe they give you a glass of wine. Whatever you see coming from your future self. I want you to grab the future version of yours hand for a moment. Look that person in the eye and ask them, how did you achieve peace in this really hard time? Or how did you accomplish this goal? You're just asking this one simple question. How did you achieve peace and joy in this difficult time? Or how did you accomplish this goal? I want you to pause for the next few moments, continue breathing, and listen for the answer. Slowly let go of your future self's hands. Let them know that you need to leave and step out of their home and back into this present moment. Bring to your mind what they told you. And because this is your dream space, it is you that has the answer. If you find yourself not able to come up with anything in that moment, you didn't hear anything from your future self, that's okay. You can always go back to that space whenever you want to, because that person that you wish to be exists in you already. Take your hands and place them over the middle of your chest. This is what we call the heart center. And let's take some cleansing breaths together to close out our meditation. We're going to breathe in through our nose, holding it at the top for 3, 2, 1. Release with a sigh. Let's do that 2 more times. This time, making our breath just a little bit longer, the inhale a little longer, and the exhale a little longer. Breathing in through our nose. And letting it go. Breathing in this last time, making it even longer. And releasing. Before taking your hands away from your chest, sit with how your body feels in this moment when you've given it the space to be just for a moment. Just noticing how it feels. Now releasing your awareness from your bodily sensations and shifting to your heart. As you venture out into this world where there's a lot of confusion, there's a lot of hopelessness out in this world. What is your intention going forward? Now that you've taken this time to tap in with yourself, what is an intention you can set going forward? Maybe it's to trust, to have faith. Maybe it's just to feel or to be present. Maybe it's to cultivate community. Or maybe it's to dream again. Take the next few moments to just find your intention. Let it bubble up from your heart and not your head. You can gently take your hands away from your heart. And I will leave you with this quote. Find the place that joy resides and give it a voice far beyond singing. Find the place where joy resides and give it a voice far beyond singing. And when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe roll those shoulders. And bring yourself back to this present space by opening your eyes.
Not 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Why not?
That is just fabulous. That is just, what a gift.
Yeah, what a gift.
What a gift.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Key, tell the people, I didn't even fucking let you introduce yourself. I jumped right in. I said who I knew you to be. I had one job and I went over this before we started, y'all. I can't believe that. Tell the people.
I think she showed who she is
beautifully.
You
definitely did. Whatever I said was not going to suffice. Wow. Funny. Please tell the people how they can stay in touch with you, your offerings.
Sure.
Everything. I got a list here. If you forget something, I'm throwing it up. I'm going to say it. All right.
So hey y'all, this has been delicious for my spirit. But one of the major things I want you all to remember about me is that I'm working to be a good ancestor. I know I'm not going to be here forever. And everything I'm doing now, I believe to be setting the stage for me to transition and be a good ancestor. So I would like to leave that legacy here. So as far as my offerings and my work, I'm helping people cut the noise and live their very best life. And I prioritize 3 groups that typically is Black women, teachers, and students. And I love supporting those 3 groups the most because I've had that reality. I've had each of those realities, right? I've been a teacher. That was actually my first job. I have a degree in elementary education, and so I have a tender spot for kiddos. And I also believe that we're all still children on the inside, like we talked about earlier. And so everything I learned in teaching has been transferable to this new life that I've created for myself as a wellness educator, as a wellness facilitator, as a cultivator of peace. I've been able to transfer all of that. And so I'm grateful for that space. And then my work with Black women, I do a lot of workshops called Pack Light. We actually just transitioned out of one of the seasons, but we'll be bringing it back in the winter. So look out for that. Pack Light is about helping you let go and releasing the things that do not align because there's a lot of stuff that don't align in this season. So it helps us to release. And then also, with educators, I am working to continue to put on things for them to provide solace and space, because teaching it can really burn you out. And so at the root of burnout is stress, and stress kills. And I don't believe in allowing our teachers to just fall up under that stress. So, and I know what it's like to be extremely stressed and not be supported in the education system. So, but yes, I offer a lot of wellness workshops that cater to the specific needs of the group. I work with a lot of nonprofits. So if you have a nonprofit that supports Black women or students or educators, I would love to work with you. I do one-on-one sessions. This is actually new. You all are hearing it here first for real, because this is my soft launch. But yes, my consultation books are open right now for one-on-one wellness sessions. And if you want to unpack the narratives that we create around our lives and the stories in our lives, you want to unpack that kind of stuff and really find new perspective, I can help you with that. If you would like to explore shadow work and all the things in our subconscious that cause us to do certain things and experience different emotions, I can support you with that. And mindset shifting, that is a strong strength of mine, in helping you shift your mind into different realities and create the world that you want to see. And so that's something you're interested in, I would love to support you with that. And we have in-person events in DC as well. And
so you're located in DC, I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, I'm in Washington, DC.
Dope.
But I do try. Listen, I do travel, clearly, because I was at CultureCon in New York. So if you ever have a need for something like that, also do retreats. And so look out for that as well. But my ultimate goal is really just to provide people with the practical tools, not making it too high level. But if you want to go high level, I can do that with you too. But starting with the practical things, because that's truly where that daily work resides. And so, you have the capacity to create inner peace and to hold on to it in your world and to share it. So we're about mindfulness, self-care, and community care. And that's Kicking It with Key all day.
You're a gift. Thank you so very much.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Y'all welcome. Okay. All right.
Yes.
All right. With that, I guess peace to the gods.
The old and the new.
Oh, I love that.
Wait, did you say where people could follow you?
Oh, I probably should.
Good Lord.
Say that. I know, right? See, we in our woo-woo meditation space.
We're being here now, okay?
You're just floating. But yes, you can find me on Instagram at Kickin It with Key LLC. It is no G, so it's not kicking.
Kicking.
Using our bunny. Okay, so it's Kickin It with Key LLC. You can also find me at kickinitwithkey.com, as well as I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on. Listen, I'm on everything. I'm on. I don't support X anymore, but I'm there as well.
You will. All your info will be in the description as well, good people. So check the description out, please.
Yeah, and so if you go to my Instagram bio, you can find everything you really need. Like if you want to book a consultation, I would suggest doing that soon, because I think when this comes out, people are going to need this, and I'm going to be happy to provide the space. And I can't wait to have time to speak with you individually.
We got to do an event in DC.
Yeah, we got
to
do something.
Yeah. Oh, I would welcome y'all with open arms.
Yeah, we got to figure it out.
For real.
Thank you. All right, y'all. Bye.